did see this yesterday on like TikTok and the Formula One subreddit, because obviously there's a lot of Formula One races that take place in the Middle East, and which of course is sports washing in itself, but that's a whole other podcast. And people were like, oh my God, will this race take place? And you're like, there's a whole bunch of school children just died. Maybe not worry about, if a race is going to hit the calendar or not. And then obviously like influencers and stuff have been told to get out of Dubai and like the UAE. And there was a meme going around, and it was the mother from Titanic, obviously like trying to go on a lifeboat, and it said, will the lifeboats be seated according to follower counts? Because obviously they did. And that really did make me laugh. So the internet still finds humour in these things.
Yes, yeah. You kind of think if Iran had actually destroyed all of Dubai, like how much of a difference it would actually have made.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's never been on my travel bucket list. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm never going there. Yeah, Julie went 2 years ago with her boyfriend, and it was her boyfriend's family were going, and she went along with them. She said it was great, but it's a real sort of artificial place. It's a horrible place in that sort of respect. And she was like, no, I wouldn't go back. Wouldn't want to. I've seen it, and it's just so much opulence and money and sort of falseness, and like it's kind of ironic that a whole bunch of really false people go there and live. They excel themselves from all sorts of places, and a lot of them are like these influencers and stuff, which they don't. What do they provide to the world?
I know.
Apart from carbon dioxide,
Yeah, and making like young girls at 9, 10, 11 thinking they like a skincare regime.
Oh my
God,
like that. Yeah. I'm currently going down a wee bit of a rabbit hole with health stuff at the moment, just because there's a couple of accounts on Instagram. It's people who post. They actually do reaction videos to some of these health influencers.
Right,
and it's people saying like, don't have breakfast in the morning, you don't touch this. And it's the same sort of idea as the newspapers did through the 80s and 90s. They would say one week, have tomatoes because it's really good for your prostate and all that. And then the next week it's saying, oh, don't have tomatoes because it's full of toxins. Yeah. It's like the Daily Mail and the Express and all that. They all had these sort of health columns, and they'd switch about. And it's these kind of people, and they're saying things like, don't eat avocados because they're full of stuff, and then but do eat avocado, and there's these guys who have been looking at these people's accounts, and they've been saying about things, and it's all what they're doing now is it's not just regular foods, it's all to do with like the macros, all the nutrients and everything that you get and things, and they're saying certain things are bad, certain things are good. And there's one guy in particular, he shows you the video, and then he says, this is a lot of shite, and then he explains why it's a lot of shite, because you actually need a healthy, balanced diet. And then he points to things like these people were selling stuff which contained the very stuff that they are now saying is bad. And all that, what they're selling is stuff that's made like generically, and then they just put their own branding on it. They're not actually making these like brunch bars or anything like that, and they're promoting them as being a healthy alternative to actually having like a bit of toast for your breakfast. And it all contains the same sort of stuff that they're now saying, no, you shouldn't be using this, you should be using this other stuff, because they're promoting something else. And it's all just promotions. It's horrible. It really is. And there's a food guy as well on Instagram. He's a Scottish guy, and he calls out all these things as well. So, and he holds up like a bag of potatoes and a Big Mac, and he says these have the same calories, exactly the same. So yes, they contain different fats and everything, but they have the same amount of calories in them. If that's all you're looking at, if you're calorie counting, it doesn't matter. But obviously there are various things in meat that are all this sort of stuff. So yeah, and he compares and contrasts things as well, and it's really kind of fascinating, because it just shows you it's all about the information you're receiving, and all of them highlight the fact that all these products that are promoted as being sort of high in protein actually really aren't, because you can get just as much protein out of various other things. Like you're not just like having a bit of chicken instead of having one of these protein bars. It's sort of like for like. And he's saying this has as much protein as that, but that's marked as high protein. And it's not. It's just
and it'll be super processed as well.
Yeah, and it's like double the price and everything. So unreal, really is. You really have to be careful, and watching these things sort of highlights that.
There's obviously like calorie counting. It's existed for as long as like diet culture or whatever has existed, but there was I watched a video last night, actually, bizarrely enough, now that you're seeing this, and it was talking about how Diet Coke is marketed in the UK. So I don't drink Diet Coke because I feel like it tastes really chemically.
Yeah.
And there's loads of studies that say like the aspartame or whatever that's in it is just as bad for you. Sugar, if you're going to drink Coke, drink a full fat anyway. But they were talking about how Diet Coke in the UK, like, do you know how we have those little bubbles on food and it's like green, amber, red, whether it's like high in fat or low in fat? So Diet Coke's like a row of green, right? Because it's got like no calories, no sugar, blah, blah, blah. But they were saying, but that fails to take into account all of the chemicals that's in it as well. So you're looking at that thinking, oh, maybe I've made like a healthy choice, like a healthy alternative because it's all green, but actually it doesn't account for like the sugar substitutes, the chemical processes, all that sort of thing. It's not a healthy choice at all, but it's like pitched as this thing that's like somehow the reasonable alternative to full fat Coke. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that you can become too caught up on, reading like those little labels and like calories and stuff as well. But it's like there was I can't remember what the two brothers are called. It's like Dr. Van and something other. And they're like, if you can't pronounce the ingredients, like, should you be putting them in your body sort of thing? And because over the past year, I've had to like really consciously like look at labels and stuff like that. It does make you way more aware of like, oh shit, I didn't realize that had that in it, or what is that? Because I don't know what that is. It's not a spice. It's not I don't recognize it as an ingredient, but it does make you hyper conscious of like, I'm not saying like I'm a like super healthy eater now by any accounts, but it does just make you a wee bit aware to go, wait a minute, actually, like, what is there an alternative to this, or can I make it myself as well?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, whether you're eating these ultra processed foods or you're making stuff yourself. We tend to make a lot of stuff ourselves, but having said that, last night we had a Marks and Spencer's chicken tikka masala curry, so and that's processed, and it's got all these additives in it, and you can't get away from them because they are in pretty much everything. So even if you can go to extremes. I read an article about a guy who's, I think he's like 48 or something, and he measures the age of his body, every part of his body.
Is this the guy who's trying to de-age himself? No, it's a different guy.
Yeah, no, it's the same guy, yeah. And he says he's got like the sperm mobility. He seems to concentrate on sperm for some reason. I'm not quite sure why.
Check his
it's not a red
drive.
flag or anything. Yeah, he's got the sperm mobility of an 18-year-old. And this and all this.
Congrats, I think.
Yeah, and like the age of certain parts of his body, like his liver, and his
your liver and all that.
Kind of thing, yeah. And he doesn't actually look very well, to be honest. He looks quite.
Yes, he looks quite spectral, doesn't he? His skin looks really like flimsy. I don't know if he's had like processes or stuff done. I mean,
I think he has.
My thing is, like, he's obviously living a very extreme life, right, where he's like monitoring like every single gram that he puts in his body. I think most sort of dietitians would tell you that moderation obviously is the key. Like, try and eat healthy and vegetables and fruit and make your own sauces and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But as you said, like Marks and Spencer's takeaway dinner at the weekend, it's not going to, that's not going to kill you in and of itself. Exactly, so you only get one spin around the sun. So it's one of those things where you're just like, you might as well just enjoy.
Yes, and if you can do a bit of exercise, do something, not necessarily hit the gym and do a full cardio workout, because a lot of people can't do that, but do something. It has to be this. Yeah, it has to be this mixture. A balance, if you like, of doing bits, because it's all very well starving yourself, but you're going to be miserable if you starve yourself, and then you build this very, very bad relationship with food. You associate food with sort of all the bad things in life, and just starving at 10 o'clock at night as well. So
but look at even like the celebrities, like Christian Bale, obviously the famous example for the Machinist, who was living off like a cigarette a day, and he was like, "This was so harmful to me." And then, of course, he piled it all on again to do was it Dick Cheney, and he's like, and he has come out, and Tom Hanks has basically given himself diabetes with these extreme drops, and like your body is not supposed to do it. Most people are sitting at their sort of regular standard weight. Like if they don't really do exercise and they're just sort of eating, most people are sitting there at where their body's kind of meant to be. These extreme fluctuations that a lot of celebrities do go through, especially with like Ozempic and stuff being a thing now, it puts a massive strain on your organs, and as you say, you're just starving. Like who is happy and having a good time when they're starving?
Yeah. Apparently with Ozempic, what they're finding now is it's not just something that you can go on and then come off after 6 months.
Yeah, because you pile the weight back on. Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to actually change your attitude towards the way that you actually conduct your life at the same time as doing this. So it's not just as a quick fix because you just don't feel hungry as much. But like I say, when you stop taking it, then you've got a problem because you're just starving all the time. It comes back worse, the cravings and everything. And then that's where people have gone into sort of real sort of problems because it becomes a mental thing as well at the same time. So it's horrible, yeah. And they're saying, well, the way around that is you're just on it all the time. You think, no,
can't be good for you either. Yeah.
Definitely not, no. It's, yeah. Because it was originally developed for people with diabetes, wasn't it?
But as you say, it's the quick fix thing, and that's the issue. Like so much of what we are marketed now is a quick solution to something. It's not like, if you want to lose 7 stone, it's going to take you a year or whatever that might take. Like, 7 stone, yeah, you can do that in a month on this. Like, obviously, that sounds like a much more attractive option than, a year of hard slog. But I just think that psychologically, like messing around with like your body's natural sort of like pain receptors and hunger receptors and stuff like that cannot be good for you long term. It's like rewiring your brain, but not in a good way, not in a positive, like, try and think happy thoughts sort of way, like in a really dangerous way. Yeah,
because if you think about it, people are now expecting quick fixes from doing exercise as well. Now it takes a minimum of 6 weeks for you to notice any sort of change from doing exercise, and that's like doing it maybe 3 times a week. So all these wee short reels about doing certain exercises are going to like lose you all this sort of belly fat, and you'll notice a difference in 7 days, and then if they're doing it for 2 weeks not really noticing anything changing apart from the fact they're a bit tired and sore, and they're going to go, well, that doesn't work, does it? And
and then you stop it.
Advertising. Yeah, you stop it because you get disheartened. They're not doing their own investigation, saying people actually know what they're talking about, saying this takes months. It doesn't take weeks. It takes a long time, and you have to be committed to it. And if you stop doing exercise, then it's the same as stopping taking Ozempic. You have to have a plan in place to actually keep you at a certain level, because so many people, and I'm included in that, you drop a bit of weight when you exercise and you go, this is great, and then you don't do the exercise and you just start putting it on again. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So yeah, it's horrible, and all they're doing it for is just to make money. That's all it is.
And that's what's it's so vacuous about it, because it's totally like you've sold your soul. Like you don't believe in any of these products, because as you said, they're shilling one thing 1 week, and then 2 weeks later that's the bad ingredient and you should be buying something else. It's so empty, and it makes me really sad when like you hear like young kids and stuff like that, and it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like an influencer. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, we don't.
I know.
Like, by all means, like if people live their lives online, that is the thing. And obviously I'm doing it just now with the festival and promoting stuff that I'm going to see and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But not in exchange for anything. I'm doing it because I enjoy this and I want to do it and I want to be there. Nobody's paying me to say I enjoyed this film or whatever. It's a genuine thing,
Yeah, I know some people actually have a career of doing that, and it can be quite difficult doing that because you're always having to produce new stuff. And basically every single day now I'm getting emails into the podcast email account saying, oh, you've got like 230 videos up on YouTube, but you're getting lost in the noise. And it's the same sort of wording every time. It comes from different people. And it's saying, we can promote you, we can do this and do that and get you, further reach and everything. And I'm not interested in that. That's not why I'm doing this. If I was doing this, then I would have spent an awful lot more time doing stuff and making it more, content every single day, 2-3 items a day and all that. One of the guys I go to the press screens with, he does a website and he is doing stuff all the time. It's like 4 and 5 articles a day, and he's got maybe like 3 or 4 writers, and it's reviews all the time, and it's just this constant churn just to kind of keep ahead of it. And he's paying people to actually do reviews and all that as well. And it's just, you think, what's the point? Because he's having to work at the same time, because it's not a financially viable model for him, which is a bit of a shame. But but yes, it's the way it goes, isn't it? The Scottish Geek guy, he does that pretty much full time, doesn't he?
No, he's a videographer, so he actually does a videography for like Braehead Clan or Glasgow Clan, whatever they're called, because he was away to film a ice hockey match down in Dumfries last night. Right,
excellent. Very good.
So I think he does a lot of videography, like professionally, but obviously does will clear his diary, for example, for film festival and any sort of Glasgow premieres and stuff like that. So, but it's interesting because if you've on this sort of red carpet and the press pen thing, I think he's probably the only one that's still from a filming perspective. Obviously the press photographers are there with actual cameras and stuff, but I think he's probably still the only one that's there with actual kit, like a shoulder mounted camera, a mic. Everyone else is like a phone and a button mic, but he obviously has the time and the skill and the craft to do that, but it just shows you how it's evolving as well. It's like that it is people with Instagram accounts and stuff like that who are, fair play to Glasgow Film Festival, because they're giving these smaller outlets, including ourselves, the opportunity to go and do that sort of thing that they would just otherwise not have access to. But it is interesting sort of seeing the change in just even the press pen setup as well.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the quality is so good with video and audio from phones now that you don't need, but he's obviously got a pretty nice setup with the sounds of things, and that will be a level up again, because most people don't need that sort of quality because they're creating it on phones and most people are watching it on phones at the same time.
His studio setup is insane. When I walked in, yes, it's like a proper studio, all soundproof walls. I had 3 different cameras on me. There was studio lighting. The podcast mics were incredible. The headphones were really good. And I was like, I've never felt like such an amateur in my life, because it was just, I felt like I was on TV. It was absolutely mad. But it was a really good chat. And I appreciate, obviously, again, the opportunity to do something like that as well. But yeah, it was quite funny. I was like, oh, this is fully soundproof. The lights are all done properly and all this. So I was like, wow, this is a really impressive setup.
Nice. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Look forward to seeing it when it comes out.
Oh, I don't know if I can watch it.
You'll be great.
In fairness, we were mostly talking because it's the Swedish country focus this year. We were mostly talking about that because obviously that is one of my niche sort of side gigs, as it were. So we were talking about. I had prepared notes in case he was going to ask me about, I don't know, the history of Swedish cinema. So I was panicking and had prepared all these notes. And actually, we were just talking about the films that I'd seen, and I was like, "Oh, I actually don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't know why I was panicking."
Yeah. It's being in a situation that you're not familiar with. If you next time you do it, it'll probably look the same and it'll sound the same, but you'll be more confident about going in and starting it because you've done it before. That's what it all comes down to. That's what it was like when we started doing the pod and all that as well. I was like, what the fuck is this? How's it going to sound and everything? But obviously, that was mainly down to Simmy to get all that in place and everything in the beginning anyway. So. But yeah,
I know, and it's so funny because when we first started doing this, I was before every episode, I was absolutely shitting myself because I just thought I haven't seen anything compared to you guys. I don't think I sound the same. We don't I don't know. I just felt so nervous, and now every week it's a proper joy to do, whereas I was getting in such a state initially.
Oh no, I still get myself in knots about have I got something actually reasonably relevant to say about this film and all that. So that doesn't go away. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's standard imposter syndrome, isn't it? That's what it is. And I've had that I've always said that. I've had that in my work life. I've had that when I've been doing this sort of stuff as well.
Really? But you're always like head of department. Well, for as long as I've known you, you've been head of something. So
yeah, it doesn't go away. This sort of stuff doesn't really go away at all. But you just kind of go, well, fine, you know. At some point, somebody's going to catch me. I'll be caught out, and I haven't been so far. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So yes,
I love that.